All right, so Josh Anderson says, hi, Jonathan. What do you think is the power behind a movie or modern story with a meta reality? For instance, Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy wakes up to reality with her relatives playing major parts in the meta reality. The Matrix, where Neo wakes up from the meta reality. Or finally, Truman Show, where everyone else is in on a reality you're not allowed to be part of because you're the subject of a meta reality. I feel as if our culture has a fascination with these types of plot devices. And I'm wondering, on a symbolic level, what do you think drives the popularity and admiration these movies often stir? Thanks. So I don't think all of these are the same. So I'm not sure the Truman Show is the same thing as the Matrix, let's say, in terms of that notion. But yeah. So I mean, I think that you could say that what these types of stories do is that they are talking about the intuition we have that there's something missing. Like there's something missing in the world. And so it's like, what is that? There's that the sense that this world is not enough. And so that's, I mean, you could say that that's really where all the religious impulse comes from and kind of condenses into. And so but it's not just about this representing these layers of reality, let's say like in the Matrix, but it's every quest story, every story where every MacGuffin story, right? Every story where people are fighting over something that they need, something that they're missing. And if they could just have that thing, then everything would be okay. And so it's like that's just this weird human condition we have, which is ultimately this desire for the infinite. Like it's ultimately the strange position we're in as intelligent beings, to have this upward movement, to have this movement towards more. And so I think that's what it's about. But the funniest part of this, the funniest are the simulation people, like the people who say that the world is a simulation. And it's like, I just find that so hilarious because what is the simulation of? And so it's like, I completely agree that the world in a way is a layers of simulation, but it's not in a bad sense, but you could say it's a layered world of realities that are stacked on each other. And so that's a traditional way of understanding it. And so let's say the lower rungs of the world are heavier and have more layers on them. And as you kind of remove the layers, you have access to more reality and more light, you could say. And it also helps you understand or helps you see the reason for the lower ones. Not in a, it's like, so it's not like a Gnostic sense where you're just where the body is bad or anything, but it's mostly that it's like as you move up, you kind of see the reason for the lower things. But the way that people phrase it, it's so superficial. It's like it's so superficial. So I kind of joke and say like the world is a simulation. It's called language. It's just language is the simulation in the sense that it's the condensation or even concepts or even any form, any particular, making particular ends up being what you would call the simulation, right? Because it's pointing to something which transcends it, but it's manifesting it in a approximate way, you could say. And so that's that feeling we have that there's something more.